It was December 1941, and the world was at war. Just weeks earlier, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor had shattered the illusion of peace, plunging the United States into the global conflict. Across Europe and the Pacific, Axis powers advanced, and the future of freedom hung in the balance. In Washington, D.C., tension filled the air, not just metaphorically, but literally. The capital, like London and other Allied cities, had adopted blackout restrictions as a precaution against potential air raids. Families in Washington hung heavy blackout curtains over their windows, ensuring that not a single glimmer of light would escape to guide enemy bombers. Streets were dim, windows dark, and the city braced for the worst. Security advisors urged President Franklin D. Roosevelt to cancel the national Christmas tree lighting ceremony. They warned that the illuminated tree, visible for miles, could serve as a beacon, guiding attackers to the heart of the capital. But Roosevelt saw things differently. For Roosevelt, Christmas was more than a holiday. It was a symbol of hope, a light in the darkness of war. And he wasn't alone. Standing with him was British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, a steadfast ally who had crossed a perilous Atlantic Ocean to meet his American counterpart. Together they made a bold decision: the tree would shine. On Christmas Eve, 1941, the South Lawn of the White House hosted an extraordinary event. Against the backdrop of war, fear, and uncertainty, the national Christmas tree stood tall, its lights piercing the cold winter night. President Roosevelt addressed the gathered crowd and millions listening on the radio, offering words of unity and hope. He said, "Our strongest weapon against this war is the conviction of the dignity and brotherhood of man which Christmas Day signifies more than any other day or any other symbol." He reminded a war-weary nation that the spirit of Christmas, of peace, goodwill and generosity, was the very antidote to hatred and tyranny. Then it was Churchill's turn. Standing beside Roosevelt, the British Prime Minister delivered a message that would resonate across continents. With resolve and compassion, he declared, "Let the children have their night of fun and laughter. Let us share with them the inexhaustible heritage of Christmas. Now by our sacrifice and daring, these same children shall not be robbed of their inheritance or denied the right to live in a free and decent world." In that moment, the tree was more than a holiday decoration. It was a beacon of resilience. Its light declared to the world that even in the darkest of times, hope and freedom would not be extinguished. Decorated with ornaments contributed by Washington schoolchildren, the tree stood as a symbol of unity, of a collective effort to preserve the traditions that defined the American spirit. The war raged on, and the following Christmases were quieter. Wartime restrictions kept the tree unlit, but the promise made in 1941 to preserve joy and hope for the children remained. And finally, in December 1945, as the world celebrated the end of World War II, the tree's lights returned. President Harry S. Truman marked the occasion with a heartfelt message. He said, "This is the Christmas that a war-weary world has prayed for through long and awful years. With peace come joy and gladness." The light from that tree in 1941, the light that defied a world at war, continues to shine as a reminder of what hope and determination can achieve. Roosevelt and Churchill proved that even in the face of darkness, traditions endure, and the future belongs to those who believe in the promise of peace. From our Breaking Through family to you and yours, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and happy holiday season. To stay updated on the latest news, subscribe to Breaking Through News on the Newsbreak app or at breakingthrough.com.
Fellow workers, fellow soldiers in the cause, this is a strange Christmas Eve. Almost the whole world is locked in deadly struggle, armed with the most terrible weapons which science can devise. The nations advance upon each other. Ill would it be for us this Christmas tide if we were not sure that no greed for the lands or wealth of any other people, no vulgar ambition, no morbid lust for material gain at the expense of others had led us to the field. Ill would it be for us if that were so. Here in the midst of war, raging and roaring over all the lands and seas, creeping nearer to our hearths and homes, here amid all these tumults, we have tonight the peace of the Spirit in each cottage home and in every generous heart. Therefore, we may cast aside, for this night at least, the cares and dangers which beset us, and make for the children an evening of happiness in a world of storm. Here then, for one night only, each home throughout the English-speaking world should be a brightly lighted island of happiness and peace. Let the children have their night of fun and laughter. Let the gifts of Father Christmas delight their play. Let us, grown-ups, share to the full in their unstinted pleasures. Before we turn again to the stern tasks and formidable year that lie before us, resolved that by our sacrifice and daring, these same children shall not be robbed of their inheritance or denied their right to live in a free and decent world. And so, in God's mercy, a happy Christmas to you all.